麗なところで戦う気か。降りてこい。
I like how I have this all set up. Say that real quick. Give me a second. This is like one of those shows, though. The book's like a show to where, like, you come back, like, a week later and you're like, oh shit. And then I feel like I'm going to start reading it and go, oh shit, and oh shit again. I feel like I should have gone back before going live and read, like, the last chapter just so that I could, like, have that feeling. Let's see. I just want to make sure we're okay on YouTube. Are we live on YouTube? Yep. Cool. So we're live on YouTube, live on Mixer, live on DLive. Thank you. Yeah, dude. So basically, I found this background prior to reading the book. And I feel like it really came out well. Like, which one is this one? If you look at it here real quickly. So if you look on, look at it, it's so beautiful. It just like, and then going into the book, it really, I think it like, I don't know. I feel like it's like from the book. I know it's not, but I feel like it is. I feel like it is. All right, I gotta cut off the music. No more music. All right.
Where'd you go?
I'm still there. I had to take you're as watching the stream. You're gonna be 2 to 5 minutes behind, depending which website you're watching me on. Let's see though. So kicking it off, title already like says it enough already. Constant Gray. Ryan Taylor. I'm happy I can get that one right. Right? I messed that up last time. I was like a little bit way too much in that last time. A little way too much in. But we left off. God, what was happening? The dude reads auras, and what is he? He's killing black auras. They talked about how the devil and God had like some battle, and the devil basically made like the world stop moving and half of it like pitch black. So God was like, okay, well, I'll make the sun like bright as fuck on the other side, which is fitting. I just like I'm thinking like with a post-apocalyptic style shit like Fallout, even in like a nuclear setting in all the movies and all the like other shit I've ever like seen or read, there's always like the people that live like Hills Have Eyes. They got the shit that like blows up, like the nuke that blows up and everybody's like deformed and shit, and they're not dead, but it's like they evolve with the deformities in sense. Going back to like with like my buddy Zombie Pilot made me watch today with like whales. I don't know why I'm thinking of whales with post-apocalyptic shit. But okay, let's get into it. Was it chapter 5? The new toys. Damn. I thought I was going to say something else. I thought it was going to be something else toys. The new toys. We drove for hours in the blistering sun. After 100 miles or so, we pulled over to the side of the dusty road and figured out how to put the top back on. Old cinema would have had you believe roasting in the sun with the top down could be loads of fun. I would equate... What is it? Equate?
Acquire?
No, not acquire. Acute it more along the lines of sticking your head inside a piping hot oven. That sounds about right. That's where I take another sip of my That's where I'm like, yeah. Definitely sounds right. The heat fluctuated between 115 to 120 degrees. Damn. It's like Arizona. That's like Arizona. It's like Arizona fucking heat. Fuck that. That's like a fuck that heat. When you're thinking about that, that's a fuck that heat. And then they wouldn't have AC either. I doubt it. The wind remained elusive, and there could be no telling where the next water source might be. I couldn't recall the last time I saw a lake, river, or even a bottle of water for that matter. So the top had to be on, or I could have possibly died of heat exhaustion. When we were figuring out the roof, I decided to stop and take a look at the car. It had sable white and powder blue interior. It's like a pitmobile. Or like a hot rod, I guess. I'm just not a blue fan. The tires were all terrain, fat, knobby, and tough. I imagined them to have some sort of defense mechanism for flats in this environment. Like Mad Max. I walked to the back and popped open the trunk. Saying I was surprised would be an understatement. I found way more than just a few knickknacks, as Patty said. Yeah, that's right. So the Patty chick was the. They went to that underground place and they entered through the mountain, and then Patty was the chick who was the mechanic who was down to help them and gave them her car. Can't remember if she got shot. I think she got shot. Weapons rations, weapons rations and water bottles. Of course, hydration in the trunk the entire time. Yeah, he was tripping out about the water. Life continued to be consistently ironic like that. I leaned down and pulled the water from its confines in a cold fridge built into the base of the trunk. I counted 6 bottles as I twisted the top off. They were plastic canisters. No, not canisters, containers. I'm thinking canisters. They were plastic containers, like the ones I used to drink from before I dabbled as a human experiment. Yeah, that's what he was. The cool water slid down my throat and my insides went frosty for a far too fleeting moment. Being fairly certain I didn't need to have water, I still greatly enjoyed imbibing the liquid joy. In fact, it was the purest it had tasted since awakening. Damn. It's like he says that, though, about the water, like it's orgasmic. Mm-hmm. I'm thirsty like that. Possibly filtered back in Patty's home. The woman had achieved sainthood in my mind for this. Maddie came over to me, complaining, of course, always complaining. Are you almost done? She trailed off when she saw the open trunk. She snagged the bottle from my hand and took a swig before pouring the rest over her head. Ah, fuck that. Fuck that shit. Fuck that. She took the bottle of water and poured it on her fucking head. That's where, like, I would be ditching her. He killed her friends. It wouldn't matter. It ran down the back of her neck and down her sweatshirt. She shook violently. Whoa, that's cold, she shrieked with glee. Still, I needed that. Haven't had a bath in weeks. Ugh. She says as she cholted, yeah. Shaking the excess water from her hair. As she looked over the trunk, her eyes went wide. She wiped her wet cheeks with her arm. Holy shit, snacks. That's the best looking thing I've seen in years. She reached over and grabbed the black machete with a long silver edge. It came with a black holster. She undid her belt and slapped it across her left thigh, cinching it tight. You're left-handed, I mentioned after taking note of which leg she put it on. She looked up at me, her thick eyebrows raised in a curl. I write with my right hand and fight with my left. Does that make me a southpaw? She said, squinting through her goggles in contemplation. It makes you obnoxious, I said. I suppose it does, she smiled widely. You? Left-handed. Don't dwell on it, though. It just means I have predilected my mental illness. Ha, no wonder we get along. We're both fucked up. She smiled and she made a few practice swings with her new toy. Ah, see? New toy. Ah, see what he did there? She mockingly invaded a false attacker. Then I believe she stabbed him. I twisted her blade and finally held up something within her fist. I furrowed my brow and stared at her quizzingly. I wonder what the weather in her world is like. His balls! She pointed proudly at the imaginary severed testicles of her victim. She snorted loudly. That's a horrible thing to do to someone. I shook my head. No matter how bad they are. Not if he tried to rape you or something, she countered. Or talked badly about your mom. So not cool. I shook my head again. While I stood with the trunk open, I removed a pair of goggles that hung from the actual trunk above me. It read binoculars on the side of them. They were in all actuality brass eyewear that I extended like a looking glass might have. I placed them over my eyes after removing my own goggles. They automatically dimmed to the... What is it? To accommodate the light. Damn. I don't know why. It's one of those words that's like, I know that word, and it's like you're drinking, Shay. It's one of those words that just has, like, it's a double C to a double M, and I'm like, oh. My head swam due to the blurry field of vision. Blurry field of vision at first. They adjusted quickly, though. They whirred quietly. Tiny gears spun together like a tiny factory inside the maliciously crafted eyewear. Definitely fucked up that word. I'm not going to go back. Skip that word. My temples felt every moment. Adjusting optics, scanning retinas, neural connection made. Kadam Gray, 42 years old. Damn, he's old. Collaborate. Follow the sights. I did as it said. Follow the small red target that came up across my vision. Calibration complete. Everything is done through thoughts. Think and it will apply, Patty's voice said in my head. I thought about zooming in. It zoomed in. My field of vision became crystal clear. I looked across the desolate land. I thought about the shade being darker. They darkened. I thought about it snapping a picture. It did. I thought about it opening the picture. It did. Wow, insanely clever engineering, almost magical. What exactly are you doing? Maddie asked while smoking a cigarette. I looked at her, thought about going back to a normal vision. It did. Identify a person, scrolled in my vision. Maddie, I said. Identify accepted. She stood outlined in white with a line pointing at her that labeled her as Maddie. Damn, it's like a video game. It's like a fucking video game now. Yes, she asked, still observing me. I was speaking to my goggles, I said. They're neurologically connected. It's weird, but useful. Sounds a lot like me, she snickered as she blew smoke through her nostrils. They look custom, she commented. Patty has certainly got some skills. The lenses followed her as she walked past me.
It's
Is it? Should it? Just on your end. Yep, just on your end. Your phone's all fucked up. I hate that iPhone. The lenses followed her as she walked past me. They switched into a new blue shade. The line that said Maddie on it changed to a subtext. It read, "Power. What is power?" I asked out loud. Maddie's eyes went wide. She choked on some smoke from her cigarette. Like one of those superheroes, like picking up a car and throwing it, or looking at ladies with x-ray visions, she smirked. After catching her breath, her eyes red from the coughing. No, on the lens here, it says Maddie. Underneath it says power, I told her. Let me see those things. She reached up and pulled them from my head. I squinted in reaction to having the goggles removed. There was a short, dizzy spell as my eyes adjusted to the bright sun. My head started to ache. I put my other goggles back on. They were certainly boring after having the other ones on, but at least they gave me some kind of defense against the brutality of the sun. Maddie removed her dark lenses and placed the new goggles over her head. She blinked and started stingly. She stared stingly at me. "These are nuts," she remarked while waving her hand in front of her face. She said, "Kadam." Okay, I see," she said, nodding. "These say you're Kadam." "Yeah, Kadam. Because I said so." "Then underneath your name it says Constant." She tilted her eyebrow. "Isn't that what Foul called you?" "Fool?" "Yeah, Foul." "Yes, wait, it says I'm a constant?" I asked, almost reaching for the glasses. "Now it says Kadim, human constant." She tapped her chin and stared at me grudgingly. Perhaps it was labeling her as someone with power? I've never heard of that before, but that didn't mean it wasn't possible. I contemplated about what power it could be. Then I saw Maddie freeze. She watched the horizon intently. She pointed behind me and turned. "Shavs, we need a bolt." She handed me the goggles and replaced her own. It calibrated immediately upon replacement. The goggles zoomed in with my thought and showed about 20 miles away. I saw a large faded green truck with the Shavs scarlet logo on the hood. There were probably about 5 guys packed inside. In the back, a monster of a man with gold and black on his face shouted out directions. He pointed here and there, his enormous maul in his hand, lying flat across the top of the truck. Foul. When I thought of his names, the goggle labeled him as such. Foul, fallen, virtue, son. Fallen virtue? Son? I don't get these labels. I thought to myself. Damn, things shouldn't come with an instruction manual at the very least. A damned glossary. I decided to keep the goggles on. They seemed useful. I looked inside the trunk and grabbed the .357 and the box of bullets. Slamming the trunk shut, I jumped into the driver's seat and tossed the pistol and bullets to Maddie. They landed in her lap. She sat there looking shocked at me. "Load it," I said. "You mean load it, please." She sat with her arms across her chest now. "Just load it. We might need it." I started the car and she waved her hand at the radio. She smiled. Offspring, Bad Habit. Her head bounced up and down as the music blared. A song about road rage, fitting. She started loading the gun as we drove. We made it about half a mile before trouble found us again. We picked up the pace as the roadway dropped into a steep decline. We careened downward. That sounds so fucking nice how that says. When was the last time you heard someone say that? We careened. What did you do? I careened downward. I like that. We careened downward. I noticed a graffiti covered in, what is it? 18-wheeler parked sideways across the road. Damn. A graffiti covered 18-wheeler. Damn, though. See, it's like a video game at this point. At this point, it's like a post-apocalyptic video game. He's got fucking goggles on. It's like telling them like their power. Dude, it's like Dragon Ball Z. Like Vegeta coming in with the fucking goggle. Telling motherfuckers like, hey, this is just power level. Look out for this. Look out for that. Like, I could see that shit. I could see that shit. Damn. I still like that shit, though. The path filled with its massive girth. At least it's got the girth, not the length. It's not always about the length. It could be about the girth, you know. So don't sell these guys off short now, y'all. They got girth. Massive girth. I slammed on the brakes. The car swerved, and we came to a skidding halt. Of course, a fucking trap. We turned to drive back and watched as 3 cars zoomed over the hill. They parked an angle to block us in. We didn't have time for this shit. Fal would be here in roughly 10 minutes. Damn, he's got that down to a point. We had to get on the road. I turned the car off and took the keys, unbuckled my seatbelt, and reached for the door handle. Maddie freaked out. "What are you doing?" She snapped at me with fear in her eyes. I grabbed the gun from her lap. "Getting directions," I said as I pulled the handle on the door. What? 5 men dressed in leather in color of mucus. Ugh. Color of mucus, I think it is. I don't think that's mucus. I think that's mucus. If it's mucus, it'd be like green, right? That'd be like green. It'd be like green stuff. It wouldn't be like anything. Yeah. That shit would be gross. That shit would be gross. These guys are coming up. Yeah. These guys are coming up in booger uniforms, basically. Now, I just got done talking them up with the girth. How are they going to do me like that with booger outfits? They're booger outfits coming up here. All right. Color of mucus stood around their cars. They had their rifles and pistols on display. This would go down violently, and with any luck, quickly. The goggles documented them and informed me they were humans. Very helpful. At least they weren't dragons, I guess. "Give us the car," one of them shouted from behind his car hood. "Yeah," another echoed. "No," I said lowly. "Excuse me?" One of them had begun to talk and walk towards me with a baseball bat in his hand. Why did so many bad guys have baseball bats? Must have been a sale at the Abyssum. A horrible cliche, really. Their auras were faded, but they had committed atrocities in the past. No reason for mercy. Damn, he turned into Judge Dredd, too, in this shit. Yeah, and he's got the goggles like Judge Dredd, too. Fuck, judge, jury, and executioner in this bitch. I let the mouth of the gossip edge close. I let the mouth of the group edge closer to me. He seemed confident he had me. That same sulfur smell from before wafted through the area. Dust whipped around the embankment. "Give me the car," he snapped again, only a few feet away from me at that point. "Or I'll bash you in the head." He patted the baseball bat in his hand. Original. "Sure thing." I took out the car keys and tossed them down the hill at the passenger door. I stepped to the side, offering him the road to the car. He hesitated. His confidence faltered a bit. "I can go?" I asked, shrugging my shoulders. "Wait here," he snapped as he walked down the hill towards the keys. He got near the car and looked to see a long fishnet-covered leg sticking out of the car. Maddie had rolled down the window to smoke a cigarette. She had her goggles pulled up over her forehead when she turned her emerald green gaze towards the approaching figure. Maddie grinned, suggested. What is it? Suggestively. So what is she? Is she gonna try to like hit on him, or is she gonna like shoot him? Like, is she suggesting like fuck these guys, or is she suggesting like, you know, hey baby? The man looked at her with surprise. He didn't need my abilities to see his poor nature. His perversions would control this matter. I could see his aura had stains from sexual assaults on it, though. This would work itself out shortly. He walked to the car after he picked up the keys from the ground and placed his hand on the window, leaning over Maddie's leg. "Do you come with the car?" he asked as he creeped his way further into the window. Gawking at her long, curvy leg, he placed his hand on her knee. Maddie didn't let me down. Her machete shot up through his exposed throat. The keys fell through his hands. He reached to hold his throat together. It wouldn't work. I had seen it 100 times before. He bled out and slid down to the ground. Maddie opened the door, knocking him away from the car. His body flopped backwards, and she grabbed the keys from the ground. They tinkled as she shook the blood from them. She got back in the car, and the music came back on. The other man stood stunned and distracted, busy watching the glory display at the bottom of the hill. Gory, not glory. It was glorious fucking gore. It wasn't glory, but it was for sure as fuck gory. One man slapped his hand against his forehead, taking advantage of their shock. I reached into my pocket and produced the recently acquired Magnum from my jacket. I fired off 2 shots before they could react. The man on the right was carrying a rifle of sorts, caught both in the chest. His back exploded open, spraying the car behind him. The impact was enough to throw him into the car. He slumped over, the life already gone from him. By the time the others realized what happened, I had already fired another shot. The crudely dressed man turned to come after me, but he was hit in the thigh with the bullet. His leg exploded from underneath him, spinning in midair. He crashed into the road. His neck probably broke in the process. But I had to look away to get the other 2 men before they killed me. My bullets must have been modified, just like everything else Patty made. I ran uphill, dodging bullets. Certainly a new experience for me. Time slowed as I ducked under the volley and rolled to avoid fatal shots. The fender of the car popped inward as I careened into it for cover. I dared a glance over the bloody hood. The men were just now able to turn on and fire at me again. The car quaked from the impact. Adrenaline coursed through my system as I took the offensive. Damn, dude. These guys are like... It's like bad shit just is attracted to this guy. He's got no fucking leeway of any, like, good shit happening for him right now. He gets experimented on. I mean, like, he at least he gets, you know, the aura thing, so he could kind of see what's up with people. So he's not like killing aimlessly. It's not like so with the first 2 people. We could go back on that with the first chapter. So he killed the 2 dudes who saved him. While their intentions were okay on saving him, and like he killed them, which, you know, was like, for me, I was like, damn, dude, he fucking killed those guys. Like, those were his saviors. Like, I don't know if I would do that, but like now looking back on it, you know, he could see their aura. And he could not only see their aura, but he could see why their aura is dark. So he could be like, oh, you know, these guys, they would have probably fucking killed me. They would have fucking, like, just as bad as the people fucking experimenting on me. You know what I mean? And he doesn't even know who he is. Like I said, my theories from before, I think this guy is like, what was my theory from before? I think I said he was an angel. I think he's like an angel or apostle, something like that. Something on those lines, dude. I've been watching a lot of that Supernatural show lately after reading this a little bit more. Look at that again. Look at that beautiful mug. Look how beautiful this book is, you guys. And this isn't even a hard copy. This is soft copy book. Is that what they call it? Soft copy? I don't know. All right. Enough of my ranting. Back to it. Adrenaline coursed through my system as I took the offensive. My target had a pistol leveled at me. The gun buckled in my hand, and the bullet made the short journey into the man's elbow. It had, in fact, decided to take the full trip through his right pectoral, too. Damn, dude, you're getting real fucking intense with this fucking shit. Probably blowing out his lung on the way. His back erupted. Lot of erupted backs with this Magnum, bro. His arm fell limp, and he flew backwards out of my vision. The last guy I needed had ducked behind the car. I used the opportunity to scuttle around to the back of the car. He poked his head above the hood of the third vehicle to scan the area. While he was doing that, I crept up behind him and placed the barrel to the base of his skull. He whimpered, knowing he was caught. 2 bullets. What's your name? I asked, clearing my throat. Terry, he said, and my goggles labeled him as Terry Human. That was just neat. Good, Terry. I'm gonna let you live. Show me how to get to Ouroboros, I said plainly. His head shook rapidly left to right. I don't know how to get there, man, he said. Really, I've never been. Now, calm down. Give me this first. I leaned over and took his gun and his knife off of his hip. He didn't budge aside from the shaking. You're a what? Shav, I guessed? What? No. I'm one of the pus mothers. What the fuck? Hold on. I thought these guys were the Shavs, bro. What are you doing to me? The pus mothers? Is it the puss or the pus? P-U-S? Is that the pus mothers? He came up in snot outfits? Named the pus mothers, dude. Holy shit. Oh. Holy shit. How could you say that and think that's threatening to anybody? We're the pus mothers, bro. The fuck? The fucking pus brothers. Not the brothers, the mothers. Like, it's not even like threatening. They're like the gang that everybody's like the Shavs. They're like, dude, we're the Shavs. The pus mothers are coming up like, the pus mothers, and the Shavs are like, fuck you, pus mothers. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking rotten fucking booger fucking bandits. You fucking booger bandits. What is that? Isn't that what they used to call kids back in the 80s and 90s? Booger bandits? You're digging for gold? You're a booger bandit. These motherfuckers are booger bandits. They're booger bandits. Okay, everybody. Back to the pus mothers. Oh, shit. What? No, I'm one of the pus mothers, he said like a proud fool, pointing at his shoulder. I glanced at the patch with the litter of zits on it. Oh my god, charming. Well, you see, Fowl is coming this way to try to get me. He kept calling me a constant. That mean anything to you? I asked Terry. Fowl is coming? His eyes watered up. No, man. No idea what a constant is. No idea where Ouroboros is either. Really not much use to me, are you? I pulled back the hammer on my pistol. He made a noise reminiscent of a ribbit caught in a trap. I know someone, he yelped. I know someone who can tell you. I'll take you. Just don't shoot me or leave me here. Well, now we're making progress, I said. Are your cars automatic or stick? He raised his eyebrows, sweat dripping down his forehead. Just answer the damn question, I snapped. Automatic, he stammered. Finally, some good news. Maddie, I yelled. She opened the door with her leg, leaned out and looked over at me through her goggles. Choose one. You're following me. I pointed at the cars. Maddie flashed me the biggest smile I'd ever seen on her face. Damn. And that's the end of chapter 5, y'all. Pus mothers. So now we had the shabs. So we had the shabs. That was a thing. We had that. We're introduced to that. We got the shabs. I get that. That sounded badass. That was some Mad Max shit, the shabs. But now we got the pus mothers. These guys are obviously ran, by, what is his fucking name? The fucking booger superhero. God, dude, you were, like... Motherfucker's got goggles and he's got... Dude, the booger bandits. They are the booger bandits. They are the booger bandits, I'm telling you. That could be your prequel. That could be your prequel, bro. I saw on your fucking shit you do comics. That could be the prequel of the book. The Booger Bandits. It's the awakening. It's the awakening of the Booger Bandits, bro, and how they became the whole thing, the whole nine, dude. I am thoroughly happy with that entire thing, y'all. I'm gonna let you know that right now. I need to open up another drink before we start this next chapter right here. I'm not even gonna tell you guys this chapter name yet. You guys are gonna have to sit in suspense. Even if you guys are watching this on YouTube or a past VOD or anything like that, that's how it is. You guys are going to have to wait a second. That's just how it is. Yeah, dude. Pus bandits. We're going to get that a thing, man. What we'll do is we'll make a YouTube channel specifically. And we'll get this whole book thing. We'll get a whole fan base going. We'll get voiceovers and everything going. And we'll get prequels and sequels to Constant Gray. And we'll have the Shavs, and we'll have the Pus Mothers, which are the Booger Bandits. They're the Booger Bandits, y'all. I don't know. That by far was the coolest thing. The coolest thing. Another thing is he could read auras. He didn't kill this guy. You gotta remember that. Kadim didn't kill this guy. He let this guy live. He right off the bat, like he's not like a let's talk kind of guy. He's I'm gonna fucking kill you. You got a bad aura, buddy. You're not good. And not only do you got a bad aura, like I'm not talking shit like you smell bad, but I know how and why you have a bad aura. And he almost has a timeline down, dude. Kadim's got a timeline down. This constant guy, he's got a timeline down. He's sitting there knowingly, looking at a motherfucker like, okay, well, I mean, it's been a while. He robbed a bank. Okay. Don't know the circumstance. I mean, I don't know if he could get to that level. Maybe he'll get to that level where, like, circumstances will be, he'll know, oh, he robbed a bank because he was poor and his kid was dying of cancer, and it was like before the apocalypse. No one was helping anybody. No one's helping anybody. Could be that way. I don't know. What else we're doing in the drunken book reading tonight is I need to mute myself in the pause of the chapter. Take a quick dab. Not one of these dabs, but just a quick dab. A lot of you more West Coast adults will know what I'm talking about. Need a quick dab, and we'll continue on to this next chapter. But again, that was, what was that? New Toys. That was a badass chapter, y'all. It was a badass chapter. All right, 1 second. Think about it, people. You guys could be getting on Amazon right now, buying this fucking book. Christmas is around the corner. Hell, I bet you guys got a Facebook list of fucking people with fucking birthdays coming up. You guys listen to my drunk ass read it. You could read it too. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so we're back on. Y'all can't see it because of the green screen, but we are on chapter 6, The Man in the Suit. Again, before we get into this chapter, let's recap. Gurney, he's been fucking trapped for decades. It had to have been decades. Because how he was talking about it and how he was sitting there thinking about it, going over the years, going over what the fuck, like what year is it, what the fuck, like, oh man, it had to have been like so long. He thought it was a couple years. It was decades. Shit was a long time. They never specified on the time. I'm saying decades. Shit's been decades, okay? Motherfuckers more than meets the eye, like a fucking transformer. Motherfuckers got goggles now. Found out there's a whole underground system of people like, God, what was that fucking movie? My God, what was that movie? Sylvester Stallone. Everyone's Taco Bell. The underground thing, the Rat Burger, the whole fucking nine. Something. Anyways, whole underground system. You know, he's meeting up with like people that seem to be like on a journey, but at the same time, that still to me sounds like apostle style shit. Because again, the book is about, you know, like we're looking at the thing right over here. You know what I'm saying? It's destiny. It's his destiny. So the shit that he's going through is destiny. This isn't just like run of the mill shit. He's running into people that are going like, hey, power. You know what I mean? He's not killing her. So now it's another run-in of shit going on. Shavs. You know what I mean? Those are the gangsters he's been really kind of running into basically this whole fucking time. And how I envision when reading the entire Shav situation when he first got the leather jacket with the Shav logo and everything back on part 1 of our Drunken book reading. How I envision that is like very like, you know, dusty. Everything's like dusty, dark, like just like this picture we're looking at right now in the background, very like dark, like almost like lava red, but is it lava red? We don't know. It's just chaos is all the time. That's a volcano exploding would be just, that's normal. That's Sunday. That's Sunday. What the fuck are you bitching about? That's Sunday. That's volcano day. That's how I see that. Okay, so he, like I said, you know, he went through the point where he got rescued, came up with Maddie, goes to another place, you know, not rescued in a manner of, you know, let out of like a 2-decade-old fucking trap where they're like experimenting on you and like fucking with your organs and like sticking their hands inside you and shit, and you're just trapped. You don't know if you're eating, you don't know if you're drinking, you don't know what. Drip, drip, drip. Remember that from fucking the first goddamn chapter. Remember that. I feel like that's going to come into play a little bit later on in the book for some reason, the whole drip, drip, drip thing. I feel like his insanity from that whole experience of torture is going to be more than we've so far put off on it. So that's something to note, you know what I mean? Like, again, this guy's like, he's not going through shit just because. It's destiny. But again, so the underground thing, I keep getting off track. The underground thing, he met the chick, Patty, I'm pretty sure her name. Met the chick, got the car, got the supplies, got the machete, got the revolver, got out. And that's, what, again, he's been having these shavs chase him down. Another ally. So that's ally number 2. So what we're looking at is, I think, ally number 3. Before we get into this chapter, like I said, we got to go over this shit. We can't just do this half-ass. We got to go in this shit with an open heart, man. This guy, I don't think he's going to kill. I don't think he's going to kill this guy. I think this is going to be his new guy. I think this is going to be like a dude that's going to like back him up. You know, he seems to like be big on killing. And like Maddie, like, what is this? The chick Maddie, she killed the motherfucker with the machete. So like he came over the car. So you guys got to envision this. The car is like this. Her leg is out. He comes over. He's like this, and she from under the shit, y'all, under it. Look at my bro, under it. Machete through the fucking bottom of the jaw, out the fucking mouth. The fucker's dead. And like, you know what I mean? He's like, you know, she didn't let down. That wasn't a letdown to him. Again, like I'm saying, it's like expected shit. This is all expected shit. Nothing's like done at this point in this book. I'm not going to expect, like, we're a good portion through right now. Do not expect any of this shit to be random at this point. None of this is random. This is all meant to be. This is a meant to be shit. This is like trials and tribulation type shit. You know what I mean? All right. Enough of my ranting. That's what I was meaning to do anyways. I just get so sidetracked. All right. Chapter 6, The Man in the Suit. According to the goggles, about 6 minutes had passed. Damn, so it's got like a time frame on it. That's some Zelda shit right there. I managed a quick glance behind us. Fowl was about 15 miles back. They followed some road. The same road, not some road. They followed the same road. What was that? No. Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm on several platforms right now. So if I don't respond to you guys, I am not ignoring you guys. You do have to, if you're on Twitch watching right now, live, you do have to follow to talk. So that's why it's preventing you. And it's not much to follow. It's not like you guys are getting pushed out. So you guys aren't being blocked. I'm not ignoring anybody. I'm like, I didn't give the whole prequel thing where I said it on the last reading, but I'll say it really quickly right now. I am not ignoring anybody whatsoever. Don't get mad if I don't respond to you. I do have every chat from every single platform up right now for the most part, except for a couple. But yeah, I'm not ignoring you guys. All the love for you guys stopping by. All the love for you guys watching. If you guys are watching on YouTube and you guys are coming to watch this back on YouTube, all the love. But none of you guys are being ignored, so don't get mad. All right, back on this. A quick glance behind us. Fowl was about 15 miles back. They followed the same road. More than likely, they would lose some time once they got to the blockaded area. They would see the dead bodies and know they were on the right track. Hopefully, this asshole riding shotgun would get us to someone who knew how to get to Ouroboros, so we can meet the lady who was supposed to know what the hell a constant was. Meet what lady, though? I can't remember what lady. All this bigger purpose bullshit grated my nerves. And not at my peace. My patience wore thinner by the minute. I had bound his hands with some wire I'd found in the trunk earlier. He bled a bit when I did, but he'd lived. Damn, I thought he was going to be homies with this guy. Come on, man. This guy could be your homie. You don't got to be like that. Come on, Maddie. Set him straight. Maddie decided on a blue Honda Civic. Pathetic little thing. But she said it was sporty. I could care less if she hit a bump in it. But it would probably get stuck, and it confounded me as to why one would lower a car in that landscape. Figured with an apocalypse of sorts, you would burn all Civics first chance you had. Damn, hating on the Civics. I don't have a Honda, but I'm just saying. I looked at my trembling compadre, Terry. Where are we going and who are we seeing? Jolt knows, man. He's fixed shit for those guys. He's good with electricity and stuff. They use lots of that there. He stammered. His disheaved green hair covered one of his eyes. No wonder he didn't see me in the gunfight. Where, I asked him plainly. He's a friend. Turn off here. Exit 33B. Stay left. He blew his hair out of his vision. I turned down the dusty road. You realize that if you lead me into a trap, I'm going to let Maddie cut your balls off and parade them to your friends. She's done it once today already, even though I told her she shouldn't. His deep brown eyes went wide in horror. What? Man, you guys are sick. I had a fleeting vision hit me unexpectedly. I saw our Viridian-haired friend Terry beating a helpless man. He kicked the man in the ribs and in his temple. The rest of his crew did most of the dirty work, but he got his licks in when he could. He jolted gleefully and spit globs of phlegm on the guy. What the fuck? He basically spit wads on the guy. As the spittle ran down his face, the man cried out that he had given Terry his car keys and asked why they wouldn't just let him go. Terry snorted in laughter and answered him, putting a hole in his head with his pistol. I looked over at him. Sick is kicking a man in the ribs after he's giving all he's had. Terry looked with wide-eyed disbelief, shaking his head. How do you know that? I get visions. They're coming more often. It's not a good sign if I get one. Typically means you're a world-class scumbag. I clicked my tongue. Scumbags never make it far with me. He went pale and looked down at his blood-spattered feet. I've done some stupid shit, but I never killed anyone. His aura disagreed with him, stayed plain as day. No matter what little thing you've done in the past, it'll be there. Why lie to me? Do you think I'm naive to your kind? I said with my eyes forward to the road. The vision showed him shooting a man for his wallet. Damn, dude. So Snot Boy's not gonna be with him, obviously. Damn. 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 The Booker Bandit's not gonna be rolling with Kadim. Alright. Alright. You killed for money. Vision showed him stabbing a woman in the back for a pack of cigarettes. You've killed for smokes. Vision showed him burning a store down to the ground with people tied up inside, their screams drowned out by the flames. You've killed for food. He sat silently staring at his feet with his head lolling. Are you psychic or something, man? How do you know this stuff? He visibly shuddered as he looked at me. I'm no psychic, I smirked at him, remembering when Maddie asked me something similar. I'm still learning who I am. People keep calling me names, showing me things I don't understand, and directing me to places to go find myself. I stared at the roadway blankly. I just happened to keep running into assholes like you along the way. He turned his head back towards the floorboards. The rest of the trip was silent, except for a few turns into the abandoned neighborhood. Busted up houses and windows, swaying trees, and knocked over fences. A pack of dogs wandered aimlessly. However, right in the middle of it all stood a pristine house, a bright, shining light of life, amidst the rotting carcass of the outlands. Like a predator standing proudly amongst the scattered remains of its prey. A huge oak fence surrounded thick green hedges. The grasses of rich green and perfectly trimmed. Rich green and perfectly trimmed. This meant it had already watered daily. It had to be watered daily. On the gate, I saw a big double J in polished golden letters glittering in the sunlight. Are you kidding me? Could you have not made more of a beacon out of yourself? Jolts, I presume? I stared, eyeballing Terry. Yes, let me out. I'll put you into contact with him. I thought it would be like point you into the right direction, but put in contact sounds about right too. I don't know what I'm saying. It says it right there. I'm. Take a sip of your drink, y'all. Cheers, everybody. Damn it, man. I guess he hasn't killed Snot Boy yet. Until he kills Snot Boy, I can't write that off, dude. I still am sticking with my theory. I'm sticking with my theory, man. I'm sticking with my theory. Oh shit, I didn't even notice you were a subscriber again, bro. All the love. Thank you for subscribing again. All the love, bro. If I already thanked you, thank you again. My wife subscribing to me, that's a given. Everyone else, there's love. Yes, let me out and I'll put you in contact with him. He bobbled his head up and down. He was just like... I looked him over, shook my head. Nah. I'll pull up to the gate and you could ring the doorbell and we could chat as a group. Real friendly like, I said. We drove up to the front and got out. An arrow on the panel said, "Press me" in golden letters. I nodded to my buddy Terry and he rang the doorbell with his knuckle. The doorbell sang out merrily across the finely tuned speaker system. Clearly, suddenly, Why do I feel like I'm saying that wrong? It's like subtle. It's subtle. Subtly, right? Like, I'm like, oh, fuck, why am I saying it like wrong? Subtly. Subtle. It's very subtle. It came out very subtle, y'all. All right, y'all. All I want for Christmas is y'all. All right, past that. The tiny melody echoed a crowd across the dead world around us to die away in the distance. Maddie sat back in her car. She watched from afar and kept an eye out for foul. Since we got off the freeway, there could be a slim chance they might overlook us. This neighborhood wasn't far from the freeway, but vague enough to camouflage us. Hopefully. That house, though, I had my doubts they'd miss it. The panel wired and flipped over. I spotted a monitor on the other side and watched as it flickered on. A sharply dressed man with a slick pompadour styled high appeared on the screen and grinned widely. The camera tilted downwards on his end, giving his head a slopping appearance. Terry, I see you have come unannounced to my home, which I presume is due to some mild level of insistence, he said with a smooth, rich tone. Will the man beside you kill you if I don't let you in? Also, what is this in regard to, sir? I don't owe you money, do I? Because I assure you, I pay any debts if that's the case. Terry spoke next. Look, man, he wants to go to Ouroboros. I told him you could help him since you've worked there or whatever. I stepped into the camera's view. You give me the map or a detailed explanation, I'll leave you and Terry here alone. The man in the monitor's eyebrows creased upward, and his smile grew wider. Oh, on the contrary, he said politely, with a grin. I'd much rather enjoy helping someone of your qualifications. You clearly know how to get what you want. You can release Terry. He knows his way out, he said. Please, have your young lady give the car back to Terry. He needs to leave now. She could come inside too. I let go of Terry's shoulder as I signaled to Maddie to pull up. She did so, and she looked at me through the window with concern in her eyes. I monitored. I mentioned for her to get out. She visibly sighed and climbed out of the car, drudging over with pody steps. What? She said with an apprehensive look on her face. Even though she already knew what I wanted. Give him the car, I told her. She groaned. Seriously? Get to drive and you're going to take it away from me? Just like that? It's some bullshit, Kadim. Why does this asshole get to leave anyways? She pointed at him and gave him a excited glance at the older sister like an older sister blaming her younger brother for something. Sir, if you cannot accommodate me, I shan't be able to accommodate you. The man on the camera smiled again. His teeth shone wide on the monitor. Time is of the essence. Maddie rolled her green eyes with obvious disdain. Yeah. So she's pissed. She's in obvious disdain. She's pissed. She's definitely pissed. What was it, like a Honda Civic, though? Weren't we just talking about, like, burning all the Honda Civics, y'all? We just burn all the Honda Civics, according to this. We just burn them all. You guys driving a Honda Civic? Fuck you. Don't do it. Turn it in. Check your blue book price. Right here. You don't want to be a booger bandit. These guys, it's not working out for them. All right? Maybe another Honda car. But obviously right here, if you guys are gonna look in to the future of a post-apocalyptic world, a Honda Civic's not one of them, people. Be a booger bandit. Don't you be a booger bandit. Give him the car, I told her. She groaned. Seriously? I get to drive it and you're going to give it away? Take it away from me? Just like that? That's bullshit, Kadim. Why does this asshole get to leave anyway? She pointed at him and gave him a sorcery glance at it like an older sister blaming a younger brother for something. Sir, if you're going to accommodate me, I shan't be able to accommodate you. The man on the camera screen smiled again. His teeth shone wide on the monitor. Time is of the essence. God, I feel like this guy would be such a snob. Maddie rolled her eyes with obvious disdain. You're too damn trusting, she chided me. Bullshit, dude, he killed your friends. The people you walked around with, he killed them. Let's not forget this, Maddie. Where are you, Maddie? What is happening, Maddie? You are the power player here, Maddie. My goggles didn't register anything for Jolt. I imagine it was because he was behind a monitor. After Maddie got out of the car, she turned around and violently stabbed the front seat with her machete. The innards of the seat spilled out onto the floorboard. Asshole, she said under her breath, then stopped him. Whoa there, buddy, she said with a mischievous grin on her face. Let me get that wire for you. She pointed at his wrists. He eyed her apprehensively and shook his hands at her. No, that's okay. No, I insist. She grabbed his wrist and pulled outwardly in front of him. She didn't wait for his permission. Hold him real steady now. Her eyes widened as she steadied her aim. She closed her eyes and raised the machete skyward. Oh, God, no, Terry spouted as the blade arched downward and sliced clean through the tangle of wires. So they basically tied him up in like a setting of wires. It was more than just like wires, like a single like thing. So Terry like okay, we have a name for him too. So we're not writing Booger Boy off yet. All right, y'all. Booger Boy's not getting written off yet. Booger Boy could come into play even more. Booger Boy could come and he could become a part of the constant like flux. I don't know what it's gonna be, but Booger Boy could come into play. Terry's got a name now. He's not just Booger Boy. He's Booger Boy Terry. Booger Boy Terry. All right? Booger Boy Terry. All right, so I will try to accommodate that in there as much as possible. Clearly shock had not registered in Terry because he looked surprised to be alive. Generally relieved to see the wires were completely cleaved off him. It wasn't until he noticed she had sliced the tip of his right pinky off. There it wobbled on the ground next to the wire. His eyes went wide. Realization had finally hit him. My finger! He shrieked. A pen went pale as he grabbed his sputtering digit. Sorry. Shit. I think we might have to write off Booger Boy. Maddie whipped the bloody machete off on the screaming man's jacket. Then she slid it back in the holster and came over to me while Terry scrounged for the knuckle on his pinky. Now we could go in. She tilted her head and grinned sweetly. I shook my head. Kadim's like, dude, come on, chica. Come on, chica. The gate opened to reveal a large statue of a gorilla. It towered over Maddie and me. The gorilla stood in full suit. Nothing relevant, just a bizarre piece of artwork to be sitting out like this. It looked almost lifelike. Jolt certainly seemed a tad eccentric. We rushed around to the front door where Jolt stood, the man with the obvious style. His dark suit hugged his little frame perfectly, his tanned face smooth and completely hairless. On his head, each strand of his perfect black hair stood as solitary with one another, and his smile oozed with charisma. Black glasses hid his eyes and the rest of his features. My goggles fully read, Johnny Jolt, Fallen Virtue, Storm. Again, the words were cryptic and scattered, to say the least. Foul is a fallen virtue, too, but these two didn't seem to be the same. At least not at first glance or by an onward appearance. Foul's also said sun, and Jolt's is storm. Were they elements? Terry mentioned that Jolt knew electricity, and it could be a new lingo for this new society. An electrician might work with storms. I had no clue. This was all just guesswork. Hey, you kids, our sharply dressed host said. Ouroboros, huh? That sure is swell. Think that place could use some excitement like you two. He smiled and wobbled and said, oh, look, I even did the wobble. Oh! I read this guy before I even fucking read this guy. He's got a wobble head. He's a fucking wobbler. I like it. Where are my manners? Come in. I'm Johnny Jolt. He smiled widely and bowed deeply. Electric Wizard. He snapped his fingers and pointed at us. You kids do realize you have foul on your tail, right? He walked us inside and pointed to some monitors with video of the truck on the wall. But since I dig you two so much, I sent Terry as a distraction. He grinned that wide grin of his. That foul is a bloodhound. He'll sniff you out sooner or later. This, however, he picked up a remote and changed all the monitors to one. A feed to Terry driving in the Civic to get on the freeway turned out to be the perfect amount of time for Foul to catch up to him out at the cross street. They all got out and pulled Terry from his car. Maddie chortled loudly. What an asshole. No doubt Terry will tell him everything he knows about you and your journey. He'll probably come here next, but he cannot enter here. It's a sacred ground, baby. He leaned back with both heels together and thrust his chest up and out. That means it's mine, not his. He pulled his glasses down to expose the yellow eyes. He wiggled his eyebrows in unison. You're one of the 13, Maddie said. Jolt fell into another scraping bow. He gloved right hand swung like a pandemonium into the arc and back of his chest. So he was like, something like that. He winked and put his glasses back on. Don't worry, I'm not some hell-bent biker bent on taking over towns for knickknacks. He tutted, wiggling a finger and clicking his tongue. I'm into helping folks out, he smiled. To quote a poet from times before, I'm a businessman. So you have another 5 minutes? I can protect this area, but not you. Dig? He grinned. Let's just say that I can. He looked at me, raising his eyebrows. Who made up these peepers? He leaned over to see the goggles. I reached up and touched them. Patty, I think. That old fox is still kicking, huh? That's marvelous. He rubbed his hands together nervously. Well, look. Let me get a hold of those papers and I'll fix you up with the location. He extended his silky golden glove. I took off the goggles and handed them to Jolt. He took them from my hands eagerly and made his way into a small office. The walls were littered with monitors, hundreds of them. Tad overkill, if you ask me. This guy was a bit of a voyeur. He sat in a red velvet chair that rolled on a golden wheels. He pulled out a plug from the arm of it, connecting into the goggles, poking at some imaginary buttons in front of him. He stabbed the air for a moment, then wiggled his fingers in a circle. I guessed his sunglasses had a monitor. And that's that, he smiled. Double data transfer. I got all you've seen, and you get way to Ouroboros. Groovy, he said, and handed the goggles back to me. I watched as he released the wire and it snapped back into the arm of the chair. He stood up and placed his hand on my back and guided me out the door. Better you go on your way now, he smiled. All with the 3.5 minutes to spare. He waved and herded us out the front door. As we were ushered outside, we both stood dazed. I am not sure what all just happened, but it seemed easy enough. Probably too much so. We walked to the car, and on the way, I swear I saw that gorilla statue move. Getting back on the road seemed like my only path to normality, provided we managed to avoid the psychopath in the truck. Jolty's silky tunes replaced Patty's voice in my goggles. Hello there, beautiful. It's time to go to Ouroboros. The words scrolled past the bold white letters. Just follow the dotted line. I made an escape route as to avoid that pesky hammer-wielding fowl. Jolt's giggle echoed through my head. I thought to myself, can you hear me, Jolt? Of course I can. You think that a being with my importance couldn't surpass Patty's defense? I'm merely interested in the ride. I've got to be honest. This is one sweet car. Patty, being who she is, though, does not surprise me one bit. No, sir. I'm not sure what I thought about Jolt being in my head. Take that, he responded. No, like that, he responded. Don't worry, baby. I can't get those memories or anything. Just what you're thinking every second you have these goggles on. Don't worry. I don't take things personally. Life is just a good old game of play. There are winners and there are losers. Let's try to make you win, okay? All right. I prepared myself for a rough ride to the Ouroboros. Having someone in my head reading my thoughts for who knows how long, shoot me. It had only been a few miles, but Jolt let me know that Fowl had showed up. He should stop here and try to find some information, possibly attempt to kill me. You know, the norm, Jolt said through the glasses. Oh, it'll only be a momentary distraction, though. Don't sweat it, though. You can't do squat to the J-man, he said reassuringly. The GPS within the glasses worked spectacularly. A line appeared in front of me, guiding my every move, similar to the crap the old phone companies used to put out, but far more three-dimensional and intuitive. Head right at Smith Street in 500 feet, Jolt's automated voice said. I turned Pearl to the right, and we continued along the road until we came up on the freeway. Turn left onto 10 West. I did. Maddie sat there looking troubled. She bit her nails fervently. Something troubled her right now. What's the matter? I asked. She nibbled on her thumbnail and squinted her eyes doubtfully at me. What's Jolt's deal? He gets something out of this, and I don't see what it is, she said after spitting out a freshly biting nail. Jolt, what are you getting out of this? I asked out loud. My left eye flickered, and a feed with Jolton appeared. He had his head leaned forward, and that huge charismatic grin of his showing. Baby, look, I'm just in the market for information. You could provide information. It'll become clearer once you get to the Ouroboros. He paused. You're going to seek solace, right? Yes. How did you know that? I asked him. We virtues just know. Which is bad for you because Foul knows too. Which is bad for the soul, brother, he said. What is virtue? I asked him, hoping I'd get a straight answer. No such luck. A title and nothing more. One that we had to come upon on our own time. You're here like I'm here, man, he said. By the way, Foul didn't stay here long, 'cause he digs those rules, like I said. He lowered his glasses, showing his luminescent yellow eyes. You've got to hurry. The truck is much faster than it looks. I gazed up into the rearview mirror. Sure enough, I could see the oversized Foul clearly, and unfortunately, I didn't have to zoom in to do so. He had his maul hoisted skyward, pointed towards us. He punched the accelerator, and Portal roared into the full throttle. Flames erupted out of the blower. It growled and shook the car. The world became a blur as I followed the line on the pavement. My knuckles ran as I gripped the wheel for dear life. Debris cluttered the 3-lane highway. Dead, abandoned cars littered the roadway. Most had been cleared out, but some still took full lanes. I swerved past a red car that happened to flip sideways on the road. Looking back, I saw Foul standing in the back of that truck with both of his hands held onto the roof. He seemed to have a faint glow to him. The exhaust of his truck bellowed fire. It left a long smoke trail behind it. When I turned back towards the road ahead, it was already too late. Dun dun dun. Alright, man. That was fucking chapter 6. That was chapter 6. That was fucking nuts. So this Jolt guy, what's up with the yellow eyes? That's my thing. We lost Booger Boy. Booger Boy is gone. Terry gone. Terry no more. No more Terry. It's not happening. Brobama. What's up, man? On D Live. Yeah, Mixer. I see y'all. Yeah. I don't know, man. We lost Booger Boy. Terry's gone. No more Terry. Yeah, rip Terry for sure, man. That's gone. Like, damn, dude. I said to you guys before I read that chapter, I thought for sure we were going to get Terry up in the mix. I thought we were going to get Booger Boy in the mix. And like I said, I mean, we get the Puss Mother's prequel going up in this bitch. We could get a Puss Mother prequel going. Terry has his, the mother of Puss is in full fruition. You can see all the Puss glory in the prequel of the Constant Gray during the post-apocalyptic situation where, Puss became something I don't know. It's very fucking... The Booger Bandits. Like I said, the prequel comic could be called The Booger Bandits, and then it could be like the comic will be like Coming of the pus. Pus to pus mothers. Like, oh my god. Terry will be in all of them. Terry has to be in every one of them. Terry, he died too soon, y'all. Terry died too soon. He had more to offer. I felt he had more to offer. I felt he could have been the chauffeur. He could have been the guy that's like, yeah, man. All right, y'all, I'll drive you wherever you want, man. I don't give a fuck. I'll suck your dick, man. I don't give a shit, man. I enjoyed the pus mothers, man. We don't give a shit, man. We're zits and acne, bro. Like, I imagine Terry being like SpongeBob's surfer guy. He's like, oh! Like, I imagine that. That's how I imagine Terry and the pus mothers. Like, oh, man, get out of your car, man. Now that if I knew that those motherfuckers were the pus mothers prior to them calling him out of the car, like, why was he even threatened by that at all? Like, oh, we're just going to end violently. Why? Because, oh, we're the pus mothers, bro. Formerly known as the Booger Bandits. Mama said that Booger Bandits wouldn't make it this way, but guess what, Mom? You were wrong. That's great. I love it. I love it. So before we start chapter 7, quick 2-minute intermission, just like the last chapters. That's what we're gonna do now. It's quick intermission. You gotta take a piss. You gotta grab a beer, grab a hard cider, grab some shots, load a bowl, roll up a rollie, whatever you gotta do. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. not always enough to get 1 minute, 2 minutes. We had to do 3 minutes. Why not? Why not 3 minutes? What's the issue with 3 minutes? Is there an issue with 3? No, I don't see an issue with 3. You know why? Because we on that 7th chapter. 7th chapter. That's what we're on. That's what we're going to do. 7th chapter. Just remember, if you didn't tune in on this is going to be recorded on all the platforms that it is streamed on right now. Part 1 is on YouTube. Part 1 is on Twitch. Part 2 will be on Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, DLive, Vapors, Stream Now, a bunch of other websites, wherever you guys are watching on. Appreciate y'all. Before we start this chapter again, you can buy this fucking book, dude. It's a fucking sick fucking book, man. It's like a movie. It's like a TV show. I feel like it's like an anime. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. This is one of those books like you got a book friend, bookworm friend. This is the book you get for Christmas or their birthday. They don't know about it. This is what you get. Amazon Prime. I'm pretty sure you're getting this for like fucking like so fucking cheap right now. I think they have a sale on it if you're a Prime right now. Like they're taking like a cost of it or some shit. Can't remember. You should get on that shit. If you guys are watching this and it is a pre-recorded thing, then yeah, definitely look down in the link on YouTube. It'll be there. A link to the book, Constant Gray, by Ryan Taylor. A badass motherfucker who writes some crazy ass fucking shit, dude. Like, what the fuck? Alright, chapter 7. Terra. You guys don't know what Terra means. Terra is usually Earth. Earth. Or Mother of Earth. Goddess of Earth. When I think Terra, I think Goddess of Earth on Smite. Right off the bat, being a Smite player. Alright. Terra, chapter 7. The kid came from nowhere. He stood in the middle of the road and stared fearlessly at us. He stood between the only gap in the freeway and the 2 overturned cars. My ankle twisted as I hammered on my brakes. The stubborn car fought me for every inch. The wheels' protestations were too much for me. It spun out of my grasp. We fish-tailed sideways and whipped into a full-tailed spin. Smashing through some debris in the road, the car began to tremble. This was when I became thankful for all the roll cage and pearl. What? You had a roll cage in that shit? Fuck. Yeah, that's why you're driving like Mad Max. Damn, dude. I stared through the front windshield as the world flipped and spun out of control. I glanced over at Maddie and she saw that blood streamed from her ears. Her eyes were closed tightly and she had a grimace on her face. She hung suspended in the air by her seatbelt as gravity took over again. I wonder if she would survive this crash. Damn, dude, you gonna take Maddie from us? The car quaked and our bodies cornered in the new direction as we smashed into one of the other cars on the highway. Glass exploded around us. Tiny shards danced midair like glitter. Potentially, they waited to fall and settle deep into our skin. My head careened off of a steering wheel. Blood plastered the inside of my front windshield, and the rest of the crimson droplets joined the glass in the suspended bullet above us. My left wrist smashed against the dashboard and snapped my hand at an unfamiliar angle. My arm buckled under my weight as well. My elbow ached. Lightning hot pain arced up my arm and back down my spinal column. Maddie's limp body snapped back and forth violently, while somehow staying latched into her seat. Maddie's chest heaved. It was raw and bloody from the tightness of the restricting seatbelt. It amazed me how the world slowed down of the resisting seatbelt. What was that? Was that just it? The world slowed down in this situation. Ah, damn, I fucked up there. Ah, cheers. Hey, man, it's not for everybody to listen to me drunkenly read, but it is for some. The world came to a roaring halt. My head swam, and I could barely keep my eyes open. Maddie laid still, slumped over in her seat. We returned sideways, looking out towards the highway. In my daze, I saw Fowl rapidly close the distance. It wouldn't be the crash that killed me. It would be the oversized menace who ended my brief stint in this crazy world. Then the car shifted ever so slowly and evened itself with the horizon. We plateaued and came to rest on the highway. I credited my possible concussion with the current state of movement. A small kid, possibly in his early teens, stood and considered the passenger side of the window of Pearl. Huh? His cinnamon-colored skin shone with a thick membrane of sweat. His tightly cropped hair enhanced his large hazel eyes. He made contact briefly. He said something, not to me, but to himself. "Hello, serendipity," came the whisper as he turned his gaze back to the highway, to the oncoming truck. He extended his arm and slid backwards as we moved. I saw Fowl's truck plow directly into the kid. A horn roared loudly. An explosion rang out, and the impact shook us. The blaring horn went silent, and I watched the vehicle wrap itself around the kid in an instant. The handful of men in the back of the truck launched like projectiles in different directions. They would not be troubling us any longer. I gasped in astonishment as the kid hoisted a 2-ton truck over his head. What impressed me even more was the fact that Fowl had held on through the entire crash. Damn, dude! This Fowl's a badass so far, dude. The fucking stabs, bro. We're the booger bandits for sure. Tara turned the truck onto its side, and Fowl leapt from the vehicle and rolled on the side. His maul sparkled against the pavement, clattering the concrete as he went. His grip never wavered. Behind him, the truck folded in upon itself as the earth snaked around it and dragged it deep, along with the remaining unconscious men far underground. Fowl's 7-foot frame rose from the ground and pointed his enormous weapon at the chest of the kid. "Move, Tara. This is your only warning. The constant is mine." Fowl glowered as he stared down his nose at him. He hoisted his maul overhead and brought it crashing into the ground in front of the kid. The ground erupted, the flames jetted from around the weapon. Rocks and debris kicked up through the air. The kid stood his ground, brushed the debris aside with a gesture, and locked eyes with Fowl. They looked like David and Goliath. I only hoped that it would turn out that same way. A brief moment of silence passed between them. The two warriors stared one another down. The ground shook as the kid Tara made the first move and ran towards the behemoth in front of him. Maddie stirred momentarily where she laid. Her skin looked paper white. I nudged her and tried to get her seatbelt off. Maddie, if you're still with me, get up. We have to go. As the seatbelt latched and she slumped into my arms, Constant, I heard in my head. I had forgotten about my glasses entirely. You okay, kiddo? Jolt implored. I didn't have time to talk to him. I had to get out of there. According to the GPS, we were still a multitude of miles away from the city of Ouroboros. Who knew exactly where we were? We couldn't have made it that far. Maddie is alive. Just get to the side, stand your ground, or Foul will keep coming after you. Cripple him, he said, but don't kill him. It's important he lives. His wrist throbbed and sat there, and mist happened. Where my arms had been fractured, the bone protruded through the skin. At least it had moments ago when I saw it all happen. It had mended itself. What? So hold on here. Let me put my finger right here. Hold on. Motherfucker's healing now? What did I say about this guy being like an angel or apostle or some shit? Or even a demon? I'll even put that in there before we get even deeper. What is it? He's like 41, 42. I don't think they said human. They said constant. They keep saying constant. I don't know if they said human. I'm trying to remember for the life of me. I don't know if they said human. I think it's an angel, an apostle, a demon, some sort of prophet. They said human? Damn. Still could be possessed. He could be a vessel. It could be a vessel. It could be a vessel. He could be a vessel. That's why he felt experimented on. He could be a vessel. He could be a vessel. He could still be shit. Damn, dude. But he's like healing rapidly. He's healing. He's seeing auras. He's seeing visions of what people did. And he's being like judgment. Like he's judgment, like hand of God style shit. Like I wonder if like that's what it is. Like maybe he's a vessel. Like he doesn't know who he is because he's a vessel, and maybe whoever is using his body as a vessel was trapped, and that's why they had him in a gurney, and that's how he felt. Like, you know, he said, what did he keep saying? Like how there was no scars, right? So if they did do experiments on him at this point, it'd be like they cut him and the shit fucking heals. So that would explain the scarring not being there. And even then, that's if he was being experimented on in that way. Because it was like more of a feeling, I think. I think it was more of a feeling. And I think that might be because maybe a power within him. If it's not him being a vessel of a entity, maybe it's like a power within him, and that was the experimenting on him, was to try to take it, the power that was within him, and that's how he felt like he was being experimented on and cut open, and organs like taken and shit like that. Obviously organs haven't been taken, or maybe organs were taken. Maybe they were siphoning organs out of him because they knew he could heal like that because of whatever entity or power, and they were like, okay, well, we could get like an infinite supply of fucking livers and hearts and shit right now. Take the heart out, heart goes like and grows back, you know what I'm saying? Oh man. because he's fucking healing. Like, that just opens up so much more to what I've already said and, like, what could be. But then, like, you confirming that they said human. They say human in here. The goggles say human. The goggles say human. And that's where it takes out the whole... That right there answers that he's not something else other than... But it still leaves room for other shit, like a power within, him being a vessel to, you know, a greater thing, like an angel, a demon, something else. Jeez, man, what the fuck? See, that's why this is so good. See, people, I'll watch TV shows, and I'll 90% of the time guess what's going to happen in the long run and get it right. That's the 90%, is getting it right. So right now, Booger Boy's dead. Booger Boy Terry. R.I.P. Terry. It's gone. We lost our Tears. They ain't no more Tears. Booger Boy Tears. I thought he was going to be a part of the crew. The Holy Crew. We lost that. All right. But, like, the healing and shit, like, fuck, dude. That is really fucking with me now. That's fucking with me. That's legitimately fucking with me. That just put me in a complete, like, fuck, dude. I want to take a sip of my drink, and I'm like, damn, dude. He's healing like that. That would makes so much sense now. So again, people, we're on chapter 7, and if you go back onto, like, chapter 1 to 3, I would say, this is where some shit that he's saying right there is becoming more relevant on this part 2 of what we're doing right now. So remember that. If you're like, what does he mean by... You could go back and hear me drunkenly read that. He was like, you could be like, I don't understand what he was saying. And then you get on Amazon and you buy this shit. And you'd be like, damn it, dude. All right. Dude, like... All right. It had mended itself. My skin knitted itself back together right in front of me. The bone ached as it reset. I didn't know why or how, but I guessed it was probably how I survived my time in that basement. Boom. No food, no water. Organs. Got that right. My wrist healed on the inside, and I could feel the nerves coming back. It seemed the more I noticed it, the better it healed. So I concentrated on my wrist, and it seemed I'd be able to snap my fingers again in no time. My body didn't feel like it had even been in an accident moments ago. Another concisive explosion. I looked back at the fight to see Faust slamming his mallet on the ground again at Tara. The teenager seemed tough. He gestured, and rubble that came at him flew sideways, and he charged at Faust fearlessly. I had to help him. Maddie could wait in the car. How could this kid handle a monster like Faust on his own? Even if he had just crashed a car with his body, the odds were stacked against him. Bullshit. This is Terra, brother. This is Terra. This is gods. This is gods. This isn't just God. This is gods. I think that Faust's a god. I think Faust's a god. I think Jolt's a god. I think these are all just nicknames that they've given themselves at this point, man. I'm just letting you all know this. Again, not to try to cut into this. It's just a theory. Just a theory. I had to help him. Maddie could wait in the car. How could this kid handle a monster like Faust on his own? Even if he had just crashed a car with his body, the odds were stacked against him. I sat up in my seat and grabbed the door handle. It clicked uselessly. I leaned back and put my legs into it. It took a few solid kicks. but I wailed loudly in disapproval as it swung outward. I stood up and watched the two superhumans doing battle. The glasses labeled the kid Terra, Virtue, Earth. He battled against the immense Foul. I watched as the giant swung his maul sideways into the ribs of Terra. The kid crumpled sideways as the blow collapsed his side. His eyes went wide in shock. His teeth ground against one another. He grimaced away in agony. Terra had just stopped a truck with his body alone, but the maul had landed solidly. His side smoldered as the maul came away from him. The skin stuck and smoked. The smell of burning flesh wafted through the air. Foul hefted a maul over his head and dropped it down onto Terra's legs. Like a massive weapon weighed nothing. His knee splintered under the weight. A smoking piece of meat remained on the ground in place of the kid's leg. Terra screamed in agony. His leg burned in the white-hot sun. He grabbed at his thigh and tried to slide back and away. Eesh. Before Foul could bring his hammer up a second time, the ground in front of Terra shot up and struck Foul's chest. A feint. I was impressed by this maneuver. The giant looked down at the large piece of earth covered in fresh blood. He brought his forearm down on it and crushed through it. He pulled the stone spear from his chest and flung it to the ground, growling at Terra in blind rage. As Foul looked up, he gnashed his teeth and snarled at Terra. Before he could advance, another pillar of earth shot through the other side of his chest. Foul howled in pain. The maul clanged off the ground as he dropped it to grab the earth protruding through his torso. Foul groaned as he struggled to remove that one. Using his legs as leverage, he heaved the ground underfoot and gave away as well. He drove a now glowing fist into the stone. It refused to give. He wailed on the cone over and over until it started to visibly crack. Terra fell to his back and rolled to look at me pleadingly. A little help. I looked over at Foul and his skin began to indult heat. What? Flames pour out of his body in waves, and the earth in his chest, began to smoke as he slammed his fists into it, over and over. The extrude odor of sulfur soared the air. So I think, yeah, Foul's a demon. Terra tried standing up, but it didn't work. His legs were in shambles. Terra turned his attention back to Foul and worked the earth to straighten the spikes. His face was a mask of pain and determination. There on the ground behind Foul laid my opportunity. I ran behind the raging bastard and scooped up his maul. It burned white hot. My hands seared under the heat, yet I felt no pain at the moment. Possibly all the nerves in my hand had just been burnt out. I struggled to lift it. The damn thing must have weighed 50 pounds. Yeah, it's not too much. With concentrated effort, I heaved over my head and crashed it down to the center of his shoulder blades. He sagged deeper onto the spear, growling in pain as he realized my presence there. The earth in his chest erupted further out of his back, sizzling as it shifted through his skin. The waves of flame gusted from his body, grew wider and longer. They licked at my frame. Ugh. Drew the hammer overhead again and battered it down harder, envisioning a circus game where you're trying to hit the bell in the show of strength. Bones broke under the hammer's blow.
His right arm hung limply at his side. Further the spike earth shifted through Fowl. The heat wave raged. The searing waves forced me backward. My flesh burned under the leather jacket. The leather itself started to stink, and the metal zippers glowed bright from the intense heat. My hands ached and went numb. I felt lightheaded in this onslaught. Terror redoubled his efforts, shifting on his side, making gestures through the air again at Fowl. The earth twisted around Fowl and throughout his body. Fowl burned brightly as he shouted, "I will kill you, Constant, like the ones before you. I will kill you, and every other Constant who rises after you." He bellowed through the pain, glowing ever brighter. The unbearable heat grew in its intensity. Forced to move back as my leather jacket ignited under the sweltering temperatures, that is. I patted the jacket down. My skin thickened, protecting me from the heat. My knuckles swelled like boxing gloves. My body went into overdrive. I watched as the earth swallowed up Fowl to his neck. A slow, painful suffocation. The ground burned and melted, itching its way over his body. I couldn't watch directly any longer. Fowl burned as a living sun in the middle of the freeway. The world smelled of fire. Sulfur stifled my senses. Stifled my senses. My eyes watered and ran down my face, only to evaporate moments later. Oh, man. It's getting into some fucking hardcore battling at this point. Like, that was like some fucking intense battling at that point. Scream. Ice cream for ice cream. Oh, but thank you for the follow, Troller. Like I said, not ignoring anybody, but while reading and heavily drinking, it is hard to look at all of the channels that I am currently live on and respond to all of you guys. I'll say this a few times. Vision's blurry. If I'm messing up on the words again, like I said, love y'all. It's all good. All right. There on the ground, behind Fowl, laid my opportunity. Oh no, I already read that. Where the fuck? Alright, here we go. I grasped the mallet in both hands with the head low to the ground behind me and charged in with the mallet, drawn back as I ran. My body ached, not echoed. Bleh. I couldn't see. The world was going to burn me to ashes. The water in my body was being sapped from me. I only had moments to end this. The maul cooked right through my gloves and into my hands. My own flesh smoked. Felt as if the gates of hell had opened up its maw and swallowed me whole. Truly the most pain I've ever had felt. But honestly, I would be chased no longer, and I would endure the pain. Jolts shouted something into my head, a distant sound into the background. I disregarded him as I plummeted into Hades head first. Ooh, is it Hades? Is it Hades? Bro, is this fucking Hades? Is Fowl Hades? Is that what we're doing here? I twisted them all back over my head like I was going to drive a golf ball through 1,000 yards. As a pendulum swung and my arms shook from the weight of the mallet, I grinned and the hit connected Fowl's neck snapped clearly. His jaw separated from the lower half of his face, and his head cracked, specked backwards, and I heard a prominent crack. Gore was all that remained below his cheeks. I panted and I stood over him. It seemed that someone turned off the power. The heat dissipated immediately, and Fowl's body lay there, stuck in the ground. His jaw spun in the wind, a dangling mess attached by a thread of skin. His eyes that had turned so dark black turned solid white. The ground around him glistened. I think he was a fucking demon, dude. The sand and stones in the ground had turned into glass from the immense heat. All around us, the light reflected from above. It twinkled in the sunlight, a haunting beauty, in a place of death and destruction. An overwhelming sense of power searched through my body. So is he like siphoning power at this point? Like, damn, dude. He like it has to be like a siphon at that point. Like he's siphoning power from who he's killing. Yeah? I don't know, we'll see. My eyes rolled back into my head. My muscles swelled in my flesh. What is it? The mile felt lighter in my grasp. Yep. The heat outside seemed suddenly bearable. I could see clearly, and the sun no longer phased my eyesight. I looked at my hands. Were they smoldered moments ago? They had become spotless. I looked and felt younger. Jolt broke the silence. Holy shit, I can't believe you killed him. Not good. That is not good, my man. Tara crawled over to me. During the fight, he must have splinted his leg with the earth. He stood up and leaned on my shoulder to support himself. He grabbed onto me for balance. His frame so much smaller than mine. Solace sent me to find you. She needs to talk to you, he said. Through the grimace, his clothes were still smoking from the heat. I looked at him. Jolt chimed in his 2 cents. Tara is no punk, man. He's going to give you direct access. Bullshit from... What is that? Direct access. Sans bullshit from Ouroboros. I looked back at Pearl, the driver's side door, a gate from where I left it earlier. I've got to take her, I said. The car remained in good shape, even after the crash. The windows were smashed up and the sides were busted in, but the tires and the engine seemed to be just fine. I looked at the ground behind the car. It protruded out and rested against the car as a cushion. It had just occurred to me that Tara had caught the car as we flipped in the air, evident by the handprints embedded in the passenger side door. His finger had gone through it, and earth had came up, stabilizing the vehicle. How the hell did this happen? I scratched my new flesh on my hands. It itched. This would constantly surprise me. I'm sorry it had to be this way, Tara said as he looked at Maddie in the car. I didn't mean to cause the accident. I didn't think I could catch you if you got past, and I worried Fowl would get to you guys first. I panicked. I gave Tara a piercing look. If Maddie dies, I will kill you for it. If she lives, you'll be fine. I said plainly. The girl had grown on me. She's kind of my guardian in that way. I'll take you to Solace. She can tell you everything, he said. Your friend will be okay, I promise. We need to take your car, Constant. I don't have one. Take them all, too. He gestured to the dangling weapon in my hands. It may come in handy. I had forgotten I even held on to it. I shook Fowl's remains from it. They sizzled as they hit the ground. I slung it over my shoulder. The remaining heat that resonated from it didn't bother me anymore. We moved Maddie to the back seat and strapped her in. She breathed sporadically. I worried she wouldn't make it, and I'd have to live up to my promise, in fact, to kill Tara, even though I doubted I could do that. I walked over to the driver's side and Tara climbed into the passenger side. The earth around the vehicle flattened out around us. Really sorry for the car again. Didn't really plan this out too much, he apologized. I turned the car in the ignition and Pearl roared back to life. Grateful that she was built so damn tough, we were almost ready to take off. First, I sat Maddie up and propped her against the side so that she could be comfortable. She was covered in blood on her chest and neck. The blood from her ears and damage from the seatbelt had made a mess of her. She breathed heavily still. I hoped she could be okay. As we set out, we had no problems, especially with Fall being absent from the equation. His maul rested in the back seat on the floorboard. Tara sat quietly as we drove, the grimace occasionally from the pain. What? About the hour into the drive, I heard a brief pop and groan from his leg as he sat his bones using the earth around it. I had never seen such a thing done before, but I figured after the last fight, I would just let it be. I probably wouldn't be too talkative either. Teens could always be a little awkward.
Oh, man.
That shit's crazy. This is like Terra of Earth. My black leather had faded to a dull gray. At least you're not a booger bandit. And a lot of it had burned away due to the immense heat from Foul. I felt invigorated from the encounter. Like I drank a cup of lightning. My senses and vision were so much sharper. I felt as if I could take on anyone. I hoped it would last. So let's cover our bases quickly. These people who can control elements are sorts called virtues. Jolt is a hold of electricity, hence the penchant for electronics. Like he can speak directly with them. Terra, which I think means Earth anyways, has control over it, literally changing the shape and mass of Earth. And I'm guessing he does it with his thoughts? Foul clearly had the sun's abilities, able to shift the very heat of the light within himself, so much that he made flames pour from his body. If it were not for meeting up with Terra, he would have overwhelmed me for certain. My unconscious companion, Maddie, was a power. I'm not sure what that was. So far, she talked a lot and picked at herself. Pretty sure that didn't define a power. That just left me the constant, the thing that no one could explain. Or would explain, except for this Solace person, apparently. I had some guesses, but I would save them for this woman. I had more questions than anything. Why could I heal myself? How far did it go? Am I the only one? How could I withstand Fall's heat, hot enough to turn sand to glass? But mere annoyance to me. Why had Jolt worried about me killing Foul? What's Jolt's endgame in this? There's too many things to worry about right now. I didn't like thinking about it. It encroached on my peace like a thorn in my foot. Every step reminding me it's there. I would pull it out if I could, get a handle on it, but it's stuck in deep, tormenting me. Boom. That shit's fucking chapter fucking 7. Oh, man. Oh, dude. I'm losing sight. We got this. We got this, people. I got one more drink to put in on this book. And that should be good enough for 2 chapters, which is really what we're trying to put in for tonight. Along with all the random ranting. Well, at least we'll try to put in 2 more chapters. We'll try. If we don't put in 2 chapters, we'll put in at least this one last chapter for tonight. It is going to be a 4-part series, like I said, people. Like I said. And within the 4th part of the series will be less chapters than the 3 parts. And it will be including basically my review on the book. If not, if this hasn't been enough of a review, me constantly ranting about it every single chapter. Just want to be able to give you guys a perspective of it, specifically to the people watching this later on too. I will be right back. Need another 2-minute break. Gotta use the restroom, people. Again, use the restroom, grab a drink, roll one up, smoke a doobie, whatever you gotta do. But whatever you do, try to just stay and lurk and listen to my bullshit. I know a couple of you guys that came in here already passed out and went through, and you're watching this later on YouTube. Thank y'all. And again, I'll be right back.
So we decided
let's hit it. Chapter 8. Alright, let's get this going, guys. Cue the music. Now cut it. Alright. Close out that. Get that over here. Put that over there. Put this back over there. Let's get chapter 8. This is going to be our last chapter of the night. As I want to be able to make this a four-part series like I originally intended. I know that if I continue on, I'm going to crunch down at least 3 more chapters tonight. I'm going to stay up really fucking late. I want to make this the last chapter. Let's see how it works out. Let's see, because I'm losing my vision at this point. I'm losing my vision. Let's get it though. Last time, you know what I mean, he killed Fowl. We don't know why that was a big thing with Jolt. We don't know why Jolt wanted him not to kill him. My guess, like I said, he said hit Hades on the head with the hammer. I think that these guys are gods or something, demi-humans, something. Yellow eyes. Remember the yellow eyes? A stopping point. So you think? What do you think, Voodoo? What do you think? So do you think that chapter 8 or chapter 9 would be the better stopping point? That's my big question. Do you think chapter 8 or chapter 9? Because I don't... Chapter 9? Read 1? God, you got me. I'm all drunk, bro. All I'm thinking about is the Booger Bandits. All I'm thinking about is Booger Bandits right now. I'm gonna dream about being hassled by Booger Bandits. Straight Booger Bandits. Everybody, if you guys are having issues with Booger Bandits, Kadim's the guy. Or Terra. This Terra seems like a badass. That's the other thing. That's, like, I don't know if this guy's going to be an ally. I was wrong about Booger Boy. So, we'll hit this chapter. And since he says this is a good stopping point, this is where we'll make the stopping point happen. After this chapter that we're going to read right now. All right, chapter 8, our first glimpse. Just like a wall where the sun had run its course, the darkness loomed ahead. Ooh, shit, they're gonna get into the dark part of the world now. Ugh, this is what I was waiting for. Never a welcome sight for me. It reminded me of the basement and that similar cadence of dripping in my head. Ooh, the drip, 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 drip. I would never let that happen again. We were still miles out, but the city started to show over the horizon. It was immense. No, colossal, immeasurable. None of those words would do justice. It would just be really fucking big. As I looked up, I could only see the bottom of the rotating dish. When we had crested underneath it, I don't know. It spanned our entire view as we went. The color of the dish, a dark pewter, and it was casting glaring reflection from the white sun. The top came to a point many miles above us, lost amongst the clouds. It reminded me of the Eiffel Tower, but 100 times larger. Except for the peak of the tower, it had a large spinning dish around that looked like it moved. Holy shit! It made sense now. It spun to simulate a day and night. Incredible. But I couldn't fathom the cost of something like that, or sheer amount of materials it took to make it.
The technology that went into undertaking would have been staggering. To see it from this far away, I could only imagine what it might look like up close. It had to be breathtaking. Holy shit, I exhaled unintentionally. Tara turned and looked at my astonishment. Yeah, Tara said after his long silence. I have the same reaction every time, and I have lived there for the past 20 years. Damn, dude. He looked at the structure with what might have been an artist's appreciation. You forget what it looks like from the outside when you're in there. I cocked my head to the side when he mentioned time there. 20 years? You don't look like a day older than 14. He sighed and his shoulders sagged. I wish I could age. It would definitely make it less creepy for people I tried to flirt with. He gave a sad smile and exhaled sharply through his nose. Teenagers aren't exactly the most interesting lot, believe me. Been one since as far back as I could remember. His aura glowed orange. He had the cleanest soul I had seen since being released. A deep purple line emanated on the inner ring near him. Sadness. Perhaps something to do with his eternal youth? I didn't know him. From what I've seen so far, he longed for something else. He looked up at me with his hazel eyes. I thought maybe his eyes would have been green almost, you know what I mean? It being Tara, I thought his eyes would have been green. Hazel eyes are fucking super fitting though. I think of like a forest elf when I think of that, like off of the show, the anime Overlord, how we had the two elves, the twins, the female and the male, and one of them controlled Earth, similar to this, and being strong, similar to this. It's how kind of like I picture him like that, is also being like a teenager in youth, you know, constant youth. I considered his sadness and wondered to myself what it might have been like living as a permanent teenager. The acne alone would make it hell. Much less being in an endless state of puberty. We're going to have to find a place to rest soon, I told him. I don't really need much sleep, and I don't think you do either, he said. Couldn't argue with him about that. I hadn't felt weary since I woke up in the gurney. I wasn't even sure I slept at all in that hellhole they found me in. I looked at Maddie, totally out cold, but her breathing had evened out. Her shirt lay in tatters across her chest from the seatbelt. The blood from her chest had dried, giving it a look of old, worn-out bandage that desperately needed changing. Damn, dude. We don't, but she does. I nodded at our unconscious companion. What's her story? Tara asked me, and he turned and looked at her. No clue. Met her when I got released, I said. The wind roared past as we sped through the wasteland without windows, the tangy or iron smell of blood still prevalent from the wreck. I kept the radio off as we spoke over the noise. What do you mean you were released? Were you kidnapped? He turned and looked at me with a furrowed brow. I honestly couldn't give you the details on that either. I can't vividly see other people's memories. I can vividly see other people's memories, but not my own. When I am able to recall something, it hits me out of nowhere, like my name, Kadim. I didn't remember it when prompted to give it. And then, boom, it was like, it was there when I needed it, I explained. Kadim, huh? I like that better than Constant. Me too. It's not much beholding, said Jolt in my head. I'd completely forgotten about him. You forgot about Jolt. My name is Terrence, but my mom always called me Tara for short. I think she wanted a girl. He smiled and shrugged. A normal conversation would be welcome about now. Before that could happen, though, I had something to ask Jolt about. Jolt, Why are you so upset about that foul is dead? I asked for clarification. Tara furrowed his eyebrows briefly, cast a glance my way, but didn't ask any questions. Jolt replied in a typical Jolt fashion, "Not my place, guy, not my place. Just here to help you along the way, okay?" He deflected his normal jovial tone. Of course, I thought. I hate all this mystery bullshit. What is a constant, I asked. I want to know too, man. Then both out loud, I turned to Tara and stared accusingly at him for a second. Jolt remained silent while Tara looked at me and appeared to be about to offer something, then stopped. That just pissed me off. On top of that, what the hell is a virtue? Again, nothing. Tara fidgeted in his seat, looking for literally anything. What was that? Oh. Looking for Sorry, everybody. On top of that, what the hell is a virtue? Again, nothing. Tara fidgeted in his seat, looking for literally anything to focus on aside from me. He glanced at me, probably answered out of sheer guilt. Look, man, Tara stated, we're on your side. We just can't give you the proper education you're asking for right now. It's not our place. Jolt, seeing his out in this, chimed in for support. Tara's speaking truth, man. Tara looked at my goggles. He tilted his head and looked at his sides. May I? He gestured with his hands. This had become commonplace with these things. People loved inspecting them. Once my vision became better accumulated onto the light, I could drive without them. It would be nice to have Jolt out of my head, too. Took the goggles off and handed them to Tara. He took them from my hands and chuckled. You know the lady who made these? He asked me with an eyebrow up. Patty, I said. That's the one, he said, smiling. She's the lady who designed Ouroboros and the massive spinning tower. Yggdrasil. What is that? Yggdrasil. She's quite possibly the most amazing engineer the world has ever seen. He beamed, then suddenly that somber look showed up on his face again. She left though, when her partner died. Pearl helped her design the build Ouroboros, and then one day, while working on the building, she slipped on some loose stone and fell to her death. A 200-story fell as an abrupt end. What? He mentioned a fall with his hand. Just awful. I remember Patty losing it. She locked herself up in her room. Within a week, she was gone. The worst part is that they never found her girlfriend's body. She fell into the dark. Demons probably took her over. He paused when I observed the story. No chance she survived, I asked. Doubtful. It's a 2,000-foot drop. Can't imagine any way she didn't look like a hamburger helper at the end of that trip. He countered with a grin. Gross. That's terrible, you know? That's what the car is called. That's why the car is called Pearl. I nodded with the vehicle we sat inside of. It now made sense why she wanted it back so badly, aside from being an amazing vehicle creation. It was tied to her partner. She must have had some big plans for me if she just handed me the keys over so easily. Why did she leave Ouroboros? I asked Tara. He handed me the goggles back, and I placed them back onto my head. I don't know. Would imagine she didn't want to run into the demon version of the love of her life. He sighed sharply. I don't know what I would do in that situation. If you think about someone you loved, survived all the odds with overcome every obstacle in your path. He shook his head. Could you kill the person if they showed up as a demon? I shook my head sideways. I couldn't either. I wouldn't want to die to be with them. It's too much for anyone, Tara said. He looked forward toward the road. I would have left too, he submersed aloud. We drove for another few hours on the freeway. Though it didn't feel like we were getting anywhere close to Ouroboros or a massive spinning building, the city loomed larger as we coasted along the path. I reluctantly placed the goggles back on my head. Jolt, you there? I asked. Always, he said. He said from the screen that popped up on my vision. He stood there, rubbing his hands, plotting my death. If it wasn't for his personality and Tara's aura, I would wonder about him. How much further? I asked Jolt. Well, we have several paths we could take. I currently taking you as the old crow flies. The fastest, dig. It's not the safest route, but it is the most direct. I have no doubt you'll be fine. This place is enormous, but it houses only a single entrance at the base. All that concrete and a single doorway to get in. It's the safest spot in the dark. As you can imagine, it is also the most heavily fortified. We're talking biblical here. There are 4 enormous walls surrounding the entry of the area, each one staggering 216 feet thick. Eesh, it's like, that's where it's getting to, God. Yggdrasil.
There we go. See, we got that in there so that he could help me not fuck it up there. You know what I mean? But yeah, Yggdrasil. like I said, I can hardly see exactly what the fuck they're saying in this book right now. I'm just going with the flow. Just going with the flow at this point. It's the end of the night. Yggdrasil. People. Yggdrasil. Cheers to the Booker Boys. As you can imagine, it is also heavily fortified. We're talking biblical here. There are 4 enormous walls surrounding the entry of the area, each one staggering 216 feet thick. The walls are 1,400 miles around, 3 gates per wall, and each made of single pearl. It's fucking huge. Great, I said. Now let me clarify. How many miles away is it? Cool. Constant, your new blood. Jolt's voice. Damn, dude. Jolt's being like a dick now. You a noob. You a noob, Constant. You a noob. That's basically what he's coming up with on that shit. Damn. Learn the land as we go. Appreciate those fine peepers you got from Patty. He's smarted. Ouroboros is... Am I saying that right? Is that the one I'm saying? Get the Yggdrasil. But is it Ouroboros? Am I saying that right? I feel like I'm saying it like a fucking tropical land, dude. Ouroboros sounds like Ouroboros. Or if that's the same thing, then I'm just fucking being I'm just being stupid. Alright. Ouroboros is the city within the walls, my man. Once inside, you'll have to make your way to... What was the word, everybody? Yggdrasil! Yay! Yggdrasil! The home of the wealthiest, the most noble of the families. I even have an apartment there, he chuckled. My digs are always the brightest. I pictured rooms with gigantic blinking neon signs that said Jolt in capital letters all over the apartment. Maybe some gorillas in suits doing dishes, taking out the trash. I tried to guide the conversation back to the point. Miles, that's all I'm asking. I almost stopped the car. 565 miles, 65 of which are in the dark, he said. Damn. Finally, 565 miles till we're there. 65 in the dark. I repeated for Tara to hear. That 65 is going to feel like 200, he said, with a look of concern. At least they don't know we're coming yet. And it's a fast car. Now, why is this going to be such a tall task? I'm guessing you had to have driven to come find me. You seem to have made it fine, just fine. How else would he have gotten to me? Got teleported, he said non-melancholy. Damn, nonchalantly. I'm saying it like multiple words that are like the same meaning. He said it nonchalantly. Motherfucker got teleported. So again, back to the God shit. Back to the God shit. Like, what is that? What is that book and that TV show? American Gods. American Gods. Seems like that. Like that concept of like gods walking amongst us being a little bit different than what we would think. Being like technology's a god. Like Twitch, internet, that whole thing. That whole shit is a god. You know what I mean? And Lucifer himself walks around. And Jesus, there's so many different Jesuses. So there's several Jesuses around. There's the Mexican Jesus, there's the Asian Jesus, there's the white Jesus, there's the actual Jesus, the whole nine. That's almost how I see this, how Tara's like, you know, mother always called me Tara. Who's mother? Mother Nature? I'm just saying. Just saying. I got teleported, he said nonchalantly, as though teleportation was a normal thing to discuss within the confines of the real world. Great. Now people could teleport. Teleportation is a thing now, huh? I asked with wide eyes staring towards the road. Well, the teleportation only works for us. It's a one-way trip, too. Probably not what you would think, either. Science caused the teleportation, not magic or mutant powers, like out of a comic book, he explained. Solace is the one who owns the portal. Patty's designed, I guessed. Patty's actually more of a mad scientist variety than her counterpart. Patty just built it with her. Tara played with some sand that he had collected from the open window. It's still technically experimental because the only people teleported have been Jolt and I looked through the goggles and searched for shelter along the road. I felt like I had pushed Maddie far enough without a break. She slept soundly, but I wanted to make sure she didn't have a fever or anything of that nature. I scanned the road ahead for any kind of safe place to stop. The goggles accommodated my thoughts and plotted a path to the nearest haven. The goggles flashed the words, Deep Diner, a place just up ahead. It would have to do. Oh shit. Dun dun dun. That's the end of fucking the 8th chapter, people. That is the end of the 8th chapter. Now here's the real question, everybody. People lurking, people twerking, people not talking, people thinking, listening and laying down, sitting back, going, damn, this guy's wasted. Do we go on for the next one? Is this the next one? I feel like this is a good stopping point, just like Voodoo Daddy said. I think this is a good stopping point. They're coming up to the city. You know what I mean? They're coming up. Yggdrasil, I'm getting that word right now. Taylor's another word I'm getting right now. All right. But as he said, this is a good stopping point. This is a good stopping point, people. How long have we been live? We've been live, 3 hours. That's a great thing. My beanie's all fucked up. I'm fucking up my beanie. My hair's all slicked back. I am drunk. You people have been serenaded for 3 hours. And if you haven't been for 3 hours, well, you could just look back on it. Yeah, dude, I'm having a hard time keeping my eyes open. I'm like, dude, it's like watching a movie. Like, let me, I gotta mark my spot right here. Chapter 9, people. That's where we're gonna hit it. That's the next one. We're gonna hit it. Oh, man. So, let's review, shall we? Shall we? Shall we? Shall we? We shall. So, Tara, this dude Tara
Mother calls me Terra. Controls Earth, right? Him and Jolt go through this portal. He says people like us, right? What were they called? Virtues, something like that. In all sense, it still sounds like vessels. It still sounds like gods amongst men. Humans. And that's another thing. I don't think his thing has marked down Terra as human. Because they were like, Jolt is like the storm, like virtue. Like, it's like, you remember they were like Foul, Jolt, Terra so far are in their own spectrum of being. Like they're in their own thing. But like, why when he killed Foul did he absorb that power? And Hammer, maybe he absorbed Foul, and now it's like a situation of what the fuck, like what the fuck's that fucking thing? Legion from fucking Marvel. You think of Legion? Legion had several personalities inside his head, dormant. Legion had several powers that he's constantly figuring out. Like this guy's constantly figuring out powers. With the power of the visions coming more fluently, with the fucking healing coming. He fucking sat there, he's like focused on his hand. And it's like, boom, fucking healed. You know what I'm saying? So this guy is sitting there with powers that he still doesn't even understand. Jolt, Terra, Foul, no one wants to tell him what the fuck he is. They're just going like, you're a constant. The fuck's a constant? Constantly talking about what a constant is without giving the explanation. So hopefully before the end we'll know what the fuck a constant is and what his play in this whole fucking battle is. Is he the savior? He has to be the savior. He doesn't have to be, I guess. Destiny. It just says destiny. And devices. We gotta go remember. We gotta go back into that. If we look at the back of the book. They're powerful allies. Allies, people. We're going back, like I said. We're going to go back and we're going to review this every fucking time so that we can get a clear thought. This is like we're watching a TV show. You're watching a show with your friends. You're sitting down watching a show. You're going to talk about what the fuck happened after the show. What do you think happened? What do I think happened? What do you think's going to happen? What do you you know what I mean? What's this guy doing? But they're talking about allies left to their own devices. Foul's hammer is one of the things that come into play. Patty's goggles is another thing that come into play. It's devices, but it's almost like a video game for him. What if he's in a video game? What if this shit's not even real? What if this shit's all fucking matrixed out and he's in a fucking video game? We don't fucking know. We don't know yet. I know some people know. I know some people know. More beer! Yes! More beer. Cheers to all of you, especially you, Voodoo. But that is really what it comes down to. I don't know, man. Is leaving it off at chapter 9 good enough, or should we be doing chapter 9? Beer is my device, man. My wife was sitting there talking to me. She's like, you should just buy a bottle of tequila, and every time you turn the page, shot of tequila. I was like, I'd be wasted. I would be sitting there being a little bit more crazy. Oh, dude, you're fucking with me. I don't know. Oh. You know I live in Portland and they shut the liquor stores down early here. If I was in Cali, it'd be good. Oh, dude, I love me some tequila. I like rum and whiskey and cider, but tequila. Yeah, okay. He said it, people. The Voodoo Daddy has spoken. The great Ryan Taylor has spoken. He says, stopping here is the good point. This is a good stopping point. People leaving, before you leave, remember, we'll be doing this again every day
on the same day of the week, Friday. We're going to do this right before midnight, around 11 o'clock, until the book is fucking done. I am determined to make it on a 4-part series on this shit. And then we'll make another video. Yeah, man. Anybody who buys this book, remember, review it. Or on Amazon, Goodreads. This book is everywhere, man. And if it's not somewhere that you currently are looking for books, you can make it there. Make it be there. You could be that person. You could be that guy or that gal that's like, I like this book. It sounds amazing. That Irish dude's ringing that book and he's wasting a fuck. It sounds fucking great. Could be that guy or gal. Could be that guy or gal. If it's a bad review, I'll haunt your dreams. Just know that. Voodoo Daddy on Twitch says that good or bad, he just wants the reviews. He just wants people to put the word out there. Let him know what you think so that he has corrective criticism for the future. For Constant Grey 2. Or the prequel, the Booger Bandits. Looking for the Booger Bandits prequel, bro. I'm telling you. I'm going to make a video directly hitting you on YouTube, and I'll promote the shit out of that fucking shit. Where I'm like, we need Ryan Taylor to make the prequel to Constant Grey about the Booger Bandits, bro. Yeah, copyright Booger Bandits, y'all. Hey, it's live. If you take Booger Bandits, I'm going to come after you, and I got Ryan to back me. Ryan is the originator of the Booger Bandits. With me, we are going to get it down. I will voice over Booger Bandits. I get to be Terry. You got to let me be Terry in it. Yes, dude, you gotta let me be Terry, dude. You gotta let me be Terry. We'll voice over it. You can do all the animation. We'll make some YouTube videos. We gotta do it. Prequel to the Constant Grey. It could be a spoof if you want it, like One Punch Man is a spoof on all the action anime. You could do it. I believe in you. I'll be your voiceover guy. And I'll promote the shit out of it. I believe it. All right, people. That is it. We are ending it. That is it. It could be in the glossary. You could say this comic is terrible. The origin of the Booger Bandits. What because it could be a several part series. I'm just saying it. Alright, everybody. Nothing but love. Thank you for coming by. People that are here still that came from the beginning, thank you for coming. People that left, thank you for leaving. People that were lurking, thank you for lurking. Don't forget to follow. Thank you for all the follows on all the different networks. All of you. Mixer, YouTube, Vapors, Twitch especially. You know that's my main dig is Twitch. YouTube, you guys don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to buy the book. It'll be down in the description. Amazon. Goodreads. I don't know if you can buy it on Goodreads, but you can definitely review it on Goodreads. Get it done. We'll be back next Friday with part 3. Constant Grey, motherfuckers. forget, next week.